is definitely going to change a bit more. Hanging on to a warm Saturday, but a much cooler forecast on Sunday and going into next week. We'll take a look at that shortly. It's about 6:02.
The deadline for local governments to opt in or out of the Homestead Exemption Act is tomorrow, and decisions are rolling in. Last night, Columbia County Commissioners unanimously voted to opt out. Your Taylor Martin is live outside the Evans Government Center. While commissioners were in agreement over the issue, some people in the county were not on the same page. So what do commissioners have to say about that decision, Taylor?
Well, actually, they say it wasn't an easy decision, but after opting out, they say they have plans for what the future looks like. We spoke with Chairman Doug Duncan about what this means for the future of the county and more specifically what this means for homeowners. Now their focus is to come up with their own homestead floating exemption to have in place for this tax year. He says the main thing is how this affects the county long term, and it matters who has control.
Because there's local control. You can show up at a meeting, just like the gentleman did, and tell us what you think.
Now, Duncan says the plan to have their own floating homestead exemption in place by the time tax bills go out this year, and that should be by May.
All right, a tough decision made there, but a unanimous vote. Thank you for that, Taylor, live at the Evans Government Center for us this morning.
The city of Grovetown. We are now 1 day away from the deadline for local governments and school boards to decide on the Homestead Exemption Act. We've already seen many boards opt out of the law, while voters in November said they wanted to opt in. Your Taylor Martin is live outside the Evans Government Center this morning. So, Taylor, what did commissioners say they wanted to do instead?
Well, Nick, while Columbia County Commissioners voted unanimously to opt out of House Bill 581, they say they have other plans that will impact homeowners. Some people weren't happy about this decision, but Chairman Doug Duncan says their focus now is to come up with their own homestead floating exemption to have in place for this tax year. He says the public meetings were helpful, and while the decision wasn't easy, the main thing is how this affects the county long term.
We didn't have to do anything to stay in.
Right.
We'd be in for 50 years.
Right.
And so there's no, who knows what'll change in the legislature before the end of this session and even next year.
Now, he says they're trying to avoid the outcome that happened in California. From what they heard during the second hearing, he says someone mentioned Proposition 13 and believed those property values were capped at 2%.
All right, thanks for the update. Taylor Martin live there at the Evans Government Center this morning.
This few storms are out by Wednesday, 6:43.
Tensions were high at the South Carolina State House last night for a much-anticipated hearing on the state's ongoing $1.8 billion debacle.
And one lead lawmaker says it's only reaffirmed his belief that a statewide elected official needs to go. South Carolina State House reporter Mary Green has been following this story from the start and has all of yesterday's drama.
For more than a year now, a Senate subcommittee has been investigating what was initially thought to be a mystery $1.8 billion surplus. An independent audit released last month found that money doesn't actually exist and was really an accounting error. On Thursday, senators heard for the first time since that report's release from one of the key players involved, the state treasurer.
Did you do anything wrong?
What kind of question is that? I've been in office 15 years, and this is an 8-year-old that asked me something specifically.
Did you do anything wrong?
I don't know how to answer that, Cal. I'm sorry.
That's how Treasurer Curtis Loftus's 2.5 hours of testimony under oath before a Senate Finance Subcommittee got started Thursday. The independent report found that the Treasurer's Office, Comptroller General's Office, and State Auditor's Office all knew about the accounting error that happened about a decade ago when the state converted from one accounting system to another. But no one told lawmakers about it until late 2022, and the error remains on the state's books. Loftus repeatedly said Thursday he's not blaming anyone, but repeatedly pointed the finger at the Comptroller General.
So what did you do wrong in that situation, Mr. Treasurer?
I trusted the Comptroller General. That was the biggest mistake I ever made in my life.
Throughout the hearing, an attorney from the Treasurer's Office conferred with Loftus and passed him notes inscribed with words like calm during particularly heated moments. Tensions peaked early on as the attorney himself tried to answer questions directed to the Treasurer, and Senator Larry Grooms, the subcommittee's chair, threatened to have security remove the attorney if he wouldn't also be sworn in.
If the gentleman attempts to address the committee, I would ask that you remove him.
Ultimately, that didn't happen, but voices were raised several times as senators and the treasurer spoke over each other.
We just spent $3 million to find out my book's balanced. My book's balanced. It's the comptroller's book's
$3
on
billion.
balance. The treasurer's office balances.
1.8.
Loftus's answers were sometimes unclear to questions like when he knew about the error and why he told senators last year that the non-existent $1.8 billion was so real they could touch it. But the treasurer was clear in criticizing senators for doing this work over the last few years in front of the public and the press, claiming it's drawn attention that could hurt the state's financial standing and credit rating.
It tracks me from one end of this state to the other. And I don't like it. And I'm trying to be as honorable as I can. But you make it difficult. These are serious issues.
It shouldn't be difficult
These are
to
serious
be
issues.
honorable.
Well, then ask the question.
This is dirty laundry. No one likes to air dirty laundry. But man, this stuff's got to get clean. And the notion that we shouldn't be asking questions, that there shouldn't be an inquiry, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
After the meeting, Grooms told reporters it reaffirmed his belief Loftus needs to resign or be removed from office.
The treasurer has great ownership into our financial problems, and I believe he needs to go.
Groom says as soon as next week, he hopes to have a draft report with findings and recommendations ready for the rest of his subcommittee to review. Once that report is finalized, it'll be presented to the rest of the Senate and available for the public. Reporting in Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
Since the release of that report last month, the governor and lawmakers confirmed publicly for the first time that South Carolina has been and still is under a federal investigation because of these financial discrepancies. A new Georgia bill could put librarians in jail for how they curate their libraries. The bill would make librarians open to aggravated misdemeanors if they fail to remove harmful materials from children's sections in public and school libraries. That level of charge is on par with DUI and battery charges. Librarians say the bill makes them fearful to do their job, and libraries will become less of a safe haven for young readers.
Librarians are feeling like they can't do their job, like I'm being asked to be something I didn't sign up for. I'm being asked to police children and do the job of a parent, and that's not the librarian's role.
Supporters of the bill say it's to protect kids from the content that isn't age appropriate. Lawmakers say the books don't need to be removed from the library entirely, just not in the children's section. The bill recently cleared a committee vote, and its next step is a vote on the state Senate floor. Taking a quick break, but first we're taking you outside to Grovetown as the sun starts to come up. It is 6:48.
Morning, Lisa Ling.